so we're Facebook and?
Yeah, this is Instagram.
Really?
And
Ooh.
so Facebook. Oh, you know what? We need our little thing. This.
Mm-hmm.
This is. I'll show you. When we want to go to overhead, I would do this so they don't see the top of my head. That goes to the overhead.
Oh, how neat.
And then,
And Facebook.
so if we show anything in the overhead. Oh, okay, we're live.
Explaining,
We're
but I just wanted
okay.
to tell
Here we
you.
are. So if we show anything in the overhead, we go to the overhead for Facebook and YouTube, and we put it towards us, and they can see it. But then in Instagram, we do this because unfortunately, Instagram doesn't respond to our overhead camera. So
Okay.
anyway, here we are. We want to let everybody know that we're here, and so that's why we're still talking. And then this makes it close up and far away,
Oh, my.
and
How technical.
there we go.
All right.
Straight.
I think we're a little crooked, but you know, we're gonna.
Now we're bobbleheads.
There we go. There we go. All right.
Well, you're not live on this yet.
Oh, okay.
That would have
Okay.
been funny.
Y'all ready?
We're ready. We're ready.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for being like patient. There we go. Uh oh. What's it saying?
I don't know what happened. Did we already do something?
We're working on getting the Instagram camera ready while we're. I might as well introduce Facebook to Cookie while we're standing here,
Okay.
you know, instead of looking like goofballs, right? So, anyway, I'm Sally, and
I'm Cookie Bahr.
Yeah, and so Cookie has joined us today, and I'm gonna say this again as soon as we get Instagram camera going, but Cookie has joined us today, and she has created some really cool things.
Thank you.
They're pretty, aren't they?
I enjoy them.
Yeah, the
Great
colors,
fabric.
You had a lot of fun with that.
I definitely had a
Yeah.
lot of fun with the color
Yeah,
and
that
the fabric.
was neat.
Mhm.
Plus, your projects are pretty cute.
That's nice, Sally.
Yeah.
You're so kind.
Anyway, let's see, we can
Can we
just
chat?
chat for a
Okay.
while. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Farmhouse Fabrics. I'm here with Sally and
That's
the staff,
right.
and I'd like to thank Sally for having me over one more time. I always enjoy coming over here because she has tons of fabrics, and I love to go through the fabric stacks.
Yeah.
Do it for myself, do it for some of my friends even. Back in the day when we all took classes here, I was a bad student. I would sit at the back of the class and I would just periodically get up and go shop fabric. And the teachers, bless them, they were very kind about it. That's why I sat at the back of the class so I didn't disturb anyone.
Y'all ready for Instagram?
We're
Yeah,
ready.
We're ready for Instagram. Yeah. Here we go. You're now live. So, for Instagram, I'm Sally, and this is Cookie. And Cookie is joining us today, and she was just doing some true confessions.
I was.
Yeah. And so she said when she would come here, and she was a student, and what did you tell them? I know that they don't mind hearing
I always
again.
sat at the back of the class because I would occasionally, at least once in the morning and once in the afternoon, get up and go fabric shopping. The teachers were very kind. They didn't call me out for it. They let me go wander off and do what I needed to do. I was even known to mutter a few things under my breath at the back of the class. One of them being the infamous, well, I'm not pulling a thread.
Oh.
And Gail Doan, that's for you.
Oh,
Because
that's
that
funny.
was perhaps one of the most difficult beginning projects I ever did in my life, and it was the Swiss voile dress with matching jacket.
Oh.
Absolutely stunning and beautiful, but pulling a thread, that was tough.
So did you pull the thread for the
Hemline
the
to
hem
do
and
the tucked
tuck
hem.
around all of that
I will
circumference?
never forget that, and it's such a good story.
You know, pulling a thread on voile is not that difficult.
Well, it might not be difficult, but I didn't enjoy it.
You didn't like it.
No, I didn't. But again, Gail, very polite. She lets me go my own way, and that's a good thing. But I think a couple of my classmates, this may have been the first time I had met them, and we have all become fast friends. We try to get together before COVID at least once a year, so we're hoping to get together this year. So hi, all you fine women. And, I'm back there muttering, I'm not going to pull a thread. And the person sitting in front of me is going, oh my gosh, she's not going to do what the teacher said. And that's
Now,
pretty much the way I am.
Was that one of your current buddies?
Yes.
Was it Denise?
No.
Oh. Well, Denise might have been.
Denise was sitting to my right.
She probably enjoyed that because she's a
did.
little bit rebellious,
She
right?
is. She's
Sorry,
my
Denise.
rebellious buddy.
You're rebellious buddy.
She doesn't mind my colorful language on occasion. But actually, it was the youngest in our crew who was appalled that I wasn't going to follow the teacher's directions. But we had a blast. We became fast friends.
Yeah.
And I will say that in my sewing world, I have more friends than I've ever made outside of tennis. And we have been friends now for 10 or 15 years. Yes.
Wow.
So it's always been fun. So I've always enjoyed it.
Cookie, I really was fascinated by the friendships that we could see in the classes and think, how did they ever meet each other? Because somebody might be from that state or that state, and there's no way that their paths would have crossed otherwise.
And careers either, for the most part.
That's right.
We were all very diverse in what we did.
Yes.
But
That's
I'm
right.
a pure science person. In our crew, let's see, we had a nurse, a couple of teachers, businesswoman, and I believe a former librarian. Somebody will have to correct me if I'm wrong if you're listening to this today, Fluffy. But yes, we all became fast friends, and we had a blast.
Sue said, Cookie the Rebel. Love ya.
Hi, Sue.
I think that's why we've always liked her.
Well, I just, life is short. I try not to do those things that I don't enjoy because it is so short. That's the way it
So
is.
life is short, be a rebel. Is that your
Well,
Yeah.
what is it? They say life is short, eat dessert first.
Yeah.
Okay, I've had to give up dessert, so now I have to be a rebel. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
That's just the way it is.
Wow.
But just great friendships here. I'm telling you, had a blast. I learned so much here.
We had some amazing teachers.
You
that
had
came here.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and again, they put up with me, and I really appreciated it because I had a lot to learn. And of course, I always think that I might be just that much smarter and quicker, and I'm wrong. I'll admit it. I will freely admit it. Even when I have patterns now, I will frequently read through the pattern and go, "Oh, we can do that differently." And it might work out 50% of the time.
Oh.
But the other 50%, I'm thinking, I should have made it the way it was and with those directions instead of trying to do it the cookie way.
That's funny.
Yes,
I'm not that brave.
I am. I'll go for it.
And so that's Michelle talking, and I told Michelle we're going to bring her up here, and she's going to enter, and she's going to stand right here and show what she just made. Because
I won't take up a lot of time because these professionals.
Oh, no, I don't
this is
think
my still learning process.
But this is fun because Michelle made that darling little Children's Corner Taylor bubble out of the printed dotted Swiss, and she was working on a nightgown for herself.
Sorry,
guys,
it's big
it's
because
so
I'm bigger.
pretty.
But look
No,
how
it's
pretty
beautiful.
it turned out.
And I can tell you
With
this
this
fabric
fabric.
feels wonderful.
Yeah, this is so sweet.
And this is the pattern. Simplicity 8162, and I did this one there, not doing a corset and whatever that other thing is. A bum pad, I'm not doing all that. But
I don't know what that is, but yes.
I guess this is part to make you have a bigger bum, if you want to
Oh,
Okay.
right there. But I just
That's lovely.
I'm
thought
gonna-
of this fabric because this is so lightweight and I like to be cool at night. And I did end up having to line the main dress part.
Oh, I see. Yep. Well, I want you to tell how you changed the casing right here because people
Well,
would
and
be
this
interested
might
in
be
that.
a little more bunched than hers, but I wanted it a little more in. So they used twill tape, and there's a wait. I got it. Oops. Where's my center? Oh, there it is. Okay, and so you're supposed to do twill tape, and you could do a little bow right there, but I didn't really like how it did. I just had some ribbon, and I didn't like how it gathered, so I just did elastic, and I'll probably just hand sew that little part. It's hard to find. Maybe I don't need to hand sew it.
But I think that's a good. I mean, I think if they were trying to be authentic and because this is a reproduction of
That's
a
beautiful.
vintage
Yeah, it said-
garment.
What did it say? 18th century undergarments, Mrs.
So then they would use a drawstring. And but for us, we have elastic, so we don't need to do that, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's going to work great. But it's so pretty.
And I had a hard time deciding between these two colorways, but I went with the red. This has a little more blue in it.
We can go to the overhead and maybe they can see them both. Look at there.
And I'm looking
But
at
they're
them.
very pretty.
Yeah,
should
they're
make
really,
you one.
They're really sweet.
And I only had to ask questions about the underarm, the gusset part. And Miss Sally helped me with that.
This is
I
a
was,
little hard.
I was a little confused
figure
with the
out
I
pattern.
saw a gusset.
Yeah, it has a gusset under here.
It's probably still not perfect, but it's underneath. So I was like, okay, my blue dot's still
That's
on
all
there.
right. We can
That'll go
a
away.
little squirt of water and then that's gone. So anyway, we're
So
proud of you.
that's it.
Nice job.
Nice
I
job.
did it.
And look, I think you're smart to line it.
Mm-hmm.
So you did it like an underlining, right? Where you just use it all in as
Yeah, I
one
just made it
piece.
like one
One
piece
piece.
because
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
Good
good.
idea.
that seemed easier to me.
That's good. Love that.
I do
All
too.
right.
Wonder if I
Isn't
can
that
make
pretty?
a quilt out of that.
I know that's getting some Cookie's getting ideas. Cookie's getting ideas. So the other thing before we really get started too, our new classic sewing magazine has arrived, and I just also want to mention, and very quickly, that I've grown to love Phyllis Hoffman, who was the creator, the president, the owner of the magazine, and I will miss her tremendously because Phyllis has passed away this past week, and so I would just want to say I loved her, and I love the magazine, and we're fully behind everything they do, and so anyway, wonderful magazine, the newest, the fall issue, and I know Phyllis had her hand
And everything.
in everything. She loved the sewing. She loved the sewing, and she created and developed Hoffman Media, and so we wish you all the best, and her family lots of our prayers and blessings.
Yes.
So anyway, I wanted to share that because I don't want to let this moment go by without mentioning how much Phyllis meant to me.
Show your coupon.
Oh,
How much coupon?
I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
There we
How
go.
can I forget? So in this magazine, this is our ad, and the girls are Kristen's two youngest girls. They're adorable in here. And I'm going to tell you that right before we went and did these pictures, you can enjoy this with your granddaughter. She got in the Vaseline and put Vaseline in her hair.
This
she got in the red hair coloring.
Oh, I like
and,
it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
a new kind of hair gel.
And she might have cut her hair that day, right up here. I'm not sure, but anyway, this is our family, for real, our family, and so these precious girls, and we love them.
And
But
they
I
are
mean, every
precious.
time you look at these pretty pictures, you think, "Let me tell you what really happened in the back."
That day.
Yeah, what happened
Yes.
that day, and it was windy and crazy, but we had a great photographer that worked with us, and she was willing to be careful. I mean, willing to take her time with the girls. But anyway, we have a coupon in every issue of Classic Sewing Magazine, and for 15% off. And there's no expiration date. It's a one-time use. So it's in this issue. Look for our ad. It'll be on the corner. All right. So now we are excited to have Cookie. Cookie, I know that you're a scientist. You have a science background.
I do.
But did you tell me kind of a little bit of what you did? You know, because weren't you in pharmaceuticals?
I am in pharmaceutical manufacturing, legal. It's all legal.
Yeah.
And my job, for the most part in my career, has been to make sure that the injectable drugs that you get put in your veins won't harm you. That's the easiest way to put it. My specialty is the aseptic processing of sterile injectables. That's the $10 term. And that's exactly what I did. But recently I've been working for a small company in North Augusta that makes peptides, which are specific active pharmaceutical ingredients that are used in sterile injectables as well as some tablet form, but I don't think they're in capsule form. Some of those peptides that you might recognize now, the brand names are Victoza, Trulicity, Ozempic, but not the new Mounjaro. They have not gotten into trying to make those kinds of generics yet, or that particular generic, but they do have something going on with the other three. Wish them luck, because that's a tough product. All three of those are tough. So they're working on that, and I hope they are able to accomplish that, because it would really be nice for the general public, because I do believe right now that the going price for Mounjaro for a month's supply, 4 weeks, I hope Eli Lilly is not listening, it's somewhere between $1,100 and $1,200. That's if you pay out of pocket. So it's a little expensive, but I can tell you now, I use it, and it's a remarkable product. That's a free plug for you, Eli Lilly.
Wow.
It's great stuff.
Wow. So, that's her career, but her love is fabric.
It is, guys. I love fabric. But the interesting thing is, I didn't sew until I was nearly 42 years old. I piddled. I did a few things.
Oh, that's interesting.
But at 42, I think, that's about right, had a granddaughter. And I started making clothes for her. Interestingly enough, I bet I made at least 24 Martha Pullen jumpers. And what is it Hunter and Holly?
Yeah.
And Hunter and the Holly jumper. Aiden had one of every kind of imaginable jumper in the world. I did just one fabric. I did a different fabric front and back. I sliced it down the middle. I did a different bodice. We did Madeira hemlines. I did ruffles, pleats, rickrack, pom-poms. I did it all. So that poor child was dressed in all of that. By the time my next granddaughter came along, I had progressed a wee bit, and I was over here taking classes. So the newest grandchild was dressed in a lot of creations that were made here. Remember me talking about the pink voile, I'm not going to pull a thread on the hemline? That's one of hers. And just spent lots of time over here sewing, learned so much about fabric from Sally. And I also like to read. And I usually read too much, and I have too many questions. But I dearly love fabric. I love learning about it. I like the feel of it. I like to see the colors. And it's probably the colors that intrigue me the most, because I just adore putting colors, textures together. So that's where I am today. Years down the road. 20 plus years down the road. So in my 30s, I took up tennis. 40s, I took up sewing. 50s, I took up cooking, because I finally had time to really cook.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Interesting. And her husband has an amazing hobby with woodworking too. And I mean, incredible the things that he's made.
He's a very talented fellow.
Yeah.
I don't know why he puts up with me.
I think you're very
I
talented.
can be a little on the demanding side. And Evan, if you're watching, oh darn. He really is a talented guy. He does have a woodworking shop, and he makes lots of things. One of the most remarkable things that he does is he turns a 50-pound block of wood into a wooden cowboy hat
That's exactly
that weighs
what I'm
16
thinking.
ounces.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
He has to do it in one sitting because the wood is wet. And once he's done it, he puts it onto a form with a light bulb in it, and he curves the brim up using rubber bands. If you walk into his shop while it's drying with the light bulb underneath it, you can actually hear it cracking.
Wow.
He's had more successes than failures with that, because occasionally it will crack the brim off. But he has done quite a few, and they are remarkable.
They are remarkable. Yeah, it's neat.
And
It's so neat.
he's toying around with a lot of different things now. He doesn't do that so much anymore, but we probably have 24 of those sitting around, and
Wow.
they are gorgeous. He's quite talented.
Yeah. Well, so you went from, I think you went from garments into enjoying some quilting, right?
I did. Actually, from garments, I probably went into bag
Into
making.
bags. So you brought a bag with you that was maybe the beginning of the bag?
This is the second bag I ever made in my life. The first bag went to a dear friend of mine called Pat Hodges. It was done in purples and greens, because those were her favorite colors. I'm really going to make you laugh. I bought this kit at the Martha Pullen School of Art Fashion. This was a kit. And after I got it home, I had a lot of fun with it. Obviously, I like bright colors. And back in the day, you see this big old thing right here, the big flower? This was part of the pattern. I don't do this very much anymore. I've done the bands with buttons on them. I've done them with rickrack, pom-poms, frills, you name it. But pretty much anymore, you won't see these. People don't request them very much. And today's modern moms are not interested in this at all. And their choice of fabric really intrigues me, because you mentioned baby bag to me. I'm going right for the standard pink, blue, lavender, yellow, green, muted pastel colors. Right now I'm doing florals. I am doing muted colors. And the last one of the last two I just did was art gallery fabric. And if you know art gallery, they're muted, very interesting prints, but beautiful.
They're very artsy.
They're very artsy, extremely artsy.
Yeah.
So this is probably my bag number 2. I made a bag for this, which was bag 111, and just finished up 2 baby bags, which were bags number 112 and 113.
I don't know what my number was for my grandchild, but she, in fact, almost every one of us here over the years has been the lucky recipient of a gift from Cookie of a bag for a child or a
Usually.
grandchild. Yeah, it's really been a big blessing. And they last so long.
Yeah, this bag back here has to be, wow, when was the last time they had Martha Pullen? Because I bought that at the first school that I went to, and I was there for the very last one, so I was there 3 years before.
Well, can I ask you about the interfacing on that?
Certainly.
Okay.
Okay, the interfacing for this bag is very interesting. The interfacing that gives this one so much body is called Peltex. It's 71F, and you can move it around a bit, but it's almost like sewing cardboard. If I have not broken a needle when I make this bag, I haven't done my job.
Oh.
Because
What size needle do you use? Do you
I use a
jean?
9016 jeans needle. And the reason being, when you are down here, you have these 2 seams and a pocket that's going on, so you have something like 8 layers going on right here. And this is normally where I break the needle, right here. But it turns into a very physical kind of exercise, because you have to turn this bag right side out.
Oh, wow.
And it usually makes my shoulder sore.
Wow.
So I have to think about that one. The other one that we use, which is here and in the pocket here, as well as here, is a Pellon interfacing that is called 911 double F. It's a fusible.
Show you what
Yes.
that one looks like.
It's a very thin, non-woven interfacing. It has the non-woven on one side and little dots of glue on the other. It works pretty well. But I use this for a lot of different projects, and it's been a nice product. That's it.
Then where did you, maybe on the other bags you used a fusible fleece type?
I did.
Type product.
We have a little zippy bag, and on that one I use either thermolam or a fusible fleece, which is almost like a batting, and it also has the glue drops on the other side. If you don't have that, you could use regular batting, and if I did that, I would use the 505 quilt basting spray to keep
Like
it in place.
An adhesive.
An adhesive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I could see how that
Okay.
would work.
That works out well.
Well, when you started with the bag, the kit bag, was that from the Sew Serendipity?
Guys, this is an oldie but goodie. This is the Sew Serendipity Bag Book by Kay Whitt. I can't say enough nice things about the book, except I think that it may be out of print now. But she just does an excellent job. This is her version of the bag. And if you could see this, I have notes all over the place in here.
Oh, I see that.
Yes, I have highlighted notes. I can tell you I didn't do something right over here, so hence these notes here. You see folded edge on here 4 times. That's because I did it wrong. Over here, lots of notes about how I attach these. About a monogram pocket, because this calls for a media pocket, and everyone here, we're in the South, they want their monogram on it. I have little notes over here. I have notes here. When this book came out, I don't think that iPhones were a thing, but now they are. So usually on the interior of the bag, one of the pockets, I have one of them wide enough for you to slip your iPhone into, and I usually have a narrow space for a pen. So you can put all that in there. You know, more highlights, more notes, but it consistently is a fabulous bag. Everyone who has it loves it. I have done a couple of classes on it, and I think my last class looks like it was in August of 2013, so it's been a good 10 years. And because I made this bag so frequently, I don't go in the order of the book anymore. So for the class, I actually did notes that says we're going to do all this first, and then we'll construct the bag. Because she has you do you cut things out, you fuse it, you sew it together. So I have you cut everything out, I have you fuse everything out, and then you put your pockets together and that kind of thing. But it made it a little easier. And if you're a burden, is it?
Yeah.
Kind of a assembly line construction. Another thing that I did, I'm a Bernina girl, love that machine. I wrote on here all the feet that I used for my machine when I make these bags. And it just makes a world of difference. Love it. But again, have to break at least one needle. That's a must.
Well, Sharon White says she remembers the hats.
Oh, yeah.
His hats, amazing. And Cindy said she bought that same book after Cookie was here last time.
Aha! Cindy, I'm thinking about.
Yeah. Which Cindy? Cindy.
Cindy Busman Hester.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
But I have made 4 bags from this book. The one that was very interesting is this ruffle bag. You have to construct these ruffles. I'm trying to think if they're on the bias, and for some reason I think they are, and I'm a stickler for top stitching everything, so after you make yards and yards and yards and miles of ruffles, you go back and you edge stitch it. It's the only way to make it work well. But this was interesting. Did a class on this one, and it took twice as long to make as I estimated that it would for someone who had never made it before. I wouldn't call any of these bags beginner bags.
Right.
I had to be advanced beginner to intermediate to advanced. But again, fabulous book. Can't recommend it enough if you enjoy making bags.
And she really does use a lot of hardware.
Oh, she does. She does.
So is hardware hard to find, or can you order it like eBay, or
You can get it
find
on
at
eBay,
Joann's,
Etsy.
or-
The hardware that I use most frequently, because I bought it in bulk when I was really making a lot of bags, I bought it from Joann's. But I do believe that there's a company out there, By Annie's, for those of you who do enjoy making bags. She has hardware and zippers. And there's another company called Sally Tomato, and I believe they also sell hardware. Okay.
Yeah, I think we've gotten things from both of them before.
You have?
And I know that the By Annie, she also has it's soft and stable,
Yes.
right? It's an interfacing called soft and stable, which we don't have now, but I think way back when we had it
We
in
probably
a
did
giant
roll.
Yeah, yeah.
It's also called headliner fabric. When you go to Joann's, they have the bolts that are probably 55, 60 inches wide, and it's actually what they used in cars forever. But they have headliner fabric. You can buy that. The soft and stable is a really nice product. It's very pliable. It can actually be quilted, and it looks very, very good.
So headliner would be a little more stiff.
I think it
probably.
is.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. It's like people are always finding outside of the normal sewing area, like even at I'm thinking of the Harbor Freight. You know, they'll find stuff at Harbor Freight to use, and
they repurpose it.
yeah, I like that. Don't you like that? It's like
I do.
like the little dishes with the magnets on the bottom. You know, you can find cheap at Harbor Freight.
And they're wonderful for your pens.
Yeah,
And when you drop all your pens in the floor, it's wonderful too.
that's
Yes.
right. And then her granddaughter used to come here and pick up buttons.
Buttons on the floor.
She'd find all these cool buttons.
She would. She still
loved
has a button jar at home.
Oh, that's funny.
And she mentioned that. She was with me this past week, and she was talking about coming over here to Miss Sally's and looking for buttons.
Well, after we had classes, my grandkids would come because y'all bought the best pins, and I'm really cheap, and so I used pins that came out of that shirt, and so I'd say, okay, kids, go around and pick up all the pins.
good
And those are
pins.
the best pins that I've ever owned have been the ones that the people in the class have
Recycle.
dropped on the
Those
floor.
are recycled.
Yeah, those are recycled.
That's right.
I'm big on recycle. Aren't you big on recycle?
I
You're
am
big on
now.
recycle,
Not as a younger woman, I wasn't, but I am now.
So, I mean, do you have? Am I interrupting your train of thought on anything?
I have
Okay.
no train of thought
Okay,
anymore.
good.
I don't work. I try not to work.
Because I'm jumping in and going all over the place, which I do. So when you have, like, what is your thought process when you know you were going to make a bag? Do you have to, like, you have to know somebody's colorways and then you go look, or do you
Let's see.
what do you do? Like, how did you do when we said, hey, Cookie, will you come and talk? And then you came in here and I mean, where does your mind go? I want to know how your mind.
Sometimes
your
it's
mind
not.
work?
Sometimes it's not a very long trip. I don't go anywhere. But I knew Sally had the London Parks collection that is Liberty of London, that is distributed by Riley Blake in the U.S. Fabulous quilting cotton. The gray goods that they use, or the goods they print on, is called Lazenby cotton. I don't know a lot about it, but I do know it's what they use, and they actually print it on the selvage that it's Lazenby cotton. And if you look on the Liberty of London website, they talk a bit about it. It's quite interesting. Sally had fabrics from a couple of the colorways. They came in A, B, and C, and she had quite a few from the B, which happened to be my favorite, so you can guess that, yes, that's what I used for my projects that I brought in today. I think they're lovely. I can't say enough about Liberty. When I grow up, I'm going to learn to do English paper piecing with Duff by my side, and I'm going to use Tanalon. The last quilt kit that I saw for that particular quilt was $992.
Oh.
That's why I have to grow up and learn to be more patient with hand piecing before I can do it.
Right.
It is lovely, and it's a lot of tiny hexies about that big.
Wow. Would you really, I mean, do you like working with all that tiny stuff?
No.
I can't believe you do it.
I said when I grow up.
Oh, okay.
I'm not there yet.
Okay.
No, again, have a fabulous sewing machine, all the feet in the world. I'm happy with it. I love it.
You know, I know you're not really a handwork person.
No.
Right. And so, you know, that's why I said one time, it's why God gave us sewing machines and
Heck
sergers
yeah,
and all
I
that,
just-
so that we didn't have to do all the handwork.
That's right. And I have interchangeable feet. I can just do anything in the world pretty much with those feet.
Yeah.
And there are 5 feet that I keep out for Bernina peeps. That's your 1 foot, your 8 foot, your 10 foot, your 37 or 57, and your 5 groove piping foot. They never go anywhere. They sit right next to all of my machines. Every one of them.
Well, Betty Weaver has a question.
Yes.
She says she bought the book at a class at Farmhouse. Would love to have your instructions. Are they available?
For anyone who's been to Farmhouse, the answer is they are. Ask Betty. I don't think there's a cutting guide with this. Now, I'm going to do something that might be just a little left of illegal. Because this is the cutting guide that came with the packet that I bought, the whole kit, from Martha Pullen. I will share this with you because this makes a world of difference. It tells you how to cut your fabrics. And I have some notes on here. If you can read them, you'll be doing well. It's for your fabric and for your interfacings. Okay, so I will share that too. Matter of fact, here they are. We'll put that right there before I forget.
Woohoo.
So for anyone who would like those, enjoy. And please remember, when you make this bag, you need to earmark anywhere from 16 to 20 hours, because by the time you cut your fabric and you fuse your fabric, that's several hours. Once you've done that, give yourself a break, have a good night's sleep, have your cup of coffee or your beverage of preference ready to go the next day. Then when you get up, if you follow the assembly instructions where you make your pockets and you go ahead and do your straps and you do all those small pieces, when you get around to the back construction, it's much easier.
I bet it is.
Okay. And if you're doing this and you have issues, contact the guys here at Farmhouse and I'll see what I can do for you. I enjoy making this bag. I know so many people who've done it and their comment is one and done, and I get it because it is quite an adventure. But you know what? You get to use all kinds of fabrics, so just go get it. And there's no perfect, so don't get excited about that either. Anything else?
I thought, yeah, any other?
I just wanted to mention something. So when you said that about the Lazenby cotton, so it says on Liberty's website and that it is printed and finished at their Italian mill, and that they developed it specifically for quilting. And so Arthur Lazenby Liberty, it's named after him. But
See,
anyway,
I didn't know that till Cookie was
That's
here earlier talking
Yes.
about that.
so that's their certain.
That's
It is.
their
It is.
fabric.
It is their fabric.
Yeah.
I've just, again, I get to read a little bit now that I'm semi-retired, and I spend part of my day looking at fabric every day. I look at quilt sites. I look at Farmhouse Fabrics. Love it. And I just see what's going on out there in the quilting world. I am not a quilter. Let's just put that out there. But I don't have any children's garments to make at this point in my life, so I have turned to making quilt blocks and quilt tops. I've enjoyed it for the most part because they usually go together quickly, because I don't choose to do the little tiny pieces in hand stitching. I use bigger chunks of fabric, but you get to use so many different fabrics. It is so much fun to just play in the fabric, which is what I've always enjoyed. I love the colors.
Well, I thought it was interesting what you said about old school quilting and how different they do things now, and the new age quilting. Tell tell us a little bit about
So-
that.
And after that, they want to see the fabric under your hand.
Oh no, you can't see this. I'm taking it all home. This is all mine. These are the fabrics that I used for.
We're gonna pull out the quilt top and the.
We have
and
a
the
quilt
bag.
top, a
and-
bag, and 2 zippy bags that I
Yeah.
made
Yeah.
just for this.
Yep.
And I love this stuff. It's really sad. This is kind of a sickness.
They want to know the feet numbers too, or the feet.
My favorite 5?
Are they on this? Your printout?
Yes, they are. If you have a Bernina, it will be on this part.
Okay.
I hope my chest doesn't hang out. Quilting. I read a lot about quilting, and I've done different things. You know, there's that scant 1/4 inch, and I'm like, what the hell's a scant 1/4 inch? What's wrong with a 1/4 inch? So I've tried it both ways, and I use a 1/4 inch. I don't worry too much about a scant. Old school quilting. You use a dry iron, you put it on scorch, and you press all your seams to one side. And what I found, if you have a quilt block that you're sewing together and you have a lot of intersecting seams, say in the middle of a square, if you press them all to one side, they bunch up and they bump up. So if you actually press them open, they do beautifully. And the new wave school of quilting is, yes, you use steam and you press your seams open. But if you're going to press your seams open, it's recommended that you shorten your stitch length. I don't have the guts to take my stitch length to 1.8 because I feel like I'll never finish sewing. So I get adventurous and go down to maybe 2.2. And I understand the concern about pressing your seams open because they could pull. But if you do your quilt and you have what they call your quilt sandwich, where you have your top layer of fabric, your next layer of batting, and your backing on there, when it's quilted, that helps compress all that down. So, you know, it's 6 of one and a half dozen of another, and there are quilts tops that I have done that I've done it both ways. For those pieces that are going to intersect, I press them open. For those that, you know, they might only cross each other once, I will press them to the side. Personally, I think I like the open better because it's flatter when you go to sew it. And there are a couple, do you mind if I mention a couple websites?
Oh no, do it.
Okay.
Do it.
I guess there are 2 schools of thought out there, and one of them is precision and accuracy, and the other one is pretty much finished is better than perfect.
See, I was hoping you'd say that.
I adore that saying. That's,
Yeah.
that's me. Finished is better than perfect.
It's kind of me too.
But the science part of me really appreciates the accuracy and the precision. There's the school of thought where you're supposed to start your fabric before you use it. There's the school of thought that says use it as you get it. So all this goes hand in hand. Missouri Star Quilting Company. I do believe that Jenny Doan started this, and her daughter-in-law Misty and her daughter, oh, I already forgot her name. I told y'all what was her name. Anyway, it's Jenny Doan with her daughter and daughter-in-law, and they do a wonderful job, and I can see her, and I'm sorry because I can't remember her name. They do a great job. These women don't starch their fabric. They do not use pins, and they just go get it.
Wow.
I love that
I
philosophy.
can't believe they don't use pins.
They do not use pins. I mean, and they'll have 6 pieces sitting there and they just start sewing. And then when they're finished, it looks great. And they are so correct in saying if you're off a smidge, don't bother with it. If it's a huge gap or there's something that you need to fix, please do. But if not, keep going. There are no quilt tops that I've ever made that are going to be in a quilt show. So I'm not that concerned about whether or not all my points are perfect. The first quilt I made, I actually did a really nice job because I had all these pointy stars. I don't know what the name for that quilt block is, but they're pointy stars for me. And they did really well. I was almost impressed with it. It was a baby quilt, of course. The other school of thought is Kimberly Jolly with the Fat Quarter Shop. She is the one who starches her fabric by spraying it with Niagara starch and draping it on a drying rack and leaving it overnight. She doesn't iron it. She lets it dry naturally. And I can tell you, if you are sewing a lot of small pieces with bias, I highly recommend it.
I can see that.
The only thing is, fabric shrinks. So if you have
Right.
purchased something called a pre-cut that's maybe 10 by 10 inches and you spray it, you could lose a
Half an
quarter
inch.
to a half inch. I mean, you watch it shrink right as you spray it. So you just have to be mindful of those things if you want to starch. And she pins and pins and pins. And yes, her points are perfect. Everything looks fabulous. she mostly presses her seams open, and she uses that 1.8 stitch length. So there's just no hard and fast rule out there anymore. And there are a couple of other websites that I kind of keep an eye on. It's someone did something called the 10 things I did wrong when I started quilting, and of course it's using steam, pressing your seams open, and all those kinds of things. So I just laugh. There just isn't a hard and fast rule. It's whatever works best for you, and most importantly, just have fun.
Yeah, I was
If
thinking
it's
that. Just
it needs,
enjoy it.
needs to be
Enjoy
an
it.
adventure, and you must have fun. If I'm not having fun, I just don't want to do it. And Sally asked me about how do I decide about fabrics. Sometimes I don't decide. I'm given fabrics to work with, and sometimes that's a struggle because I might not like the fabric, so I don't enjoy it so much. But I'm honor bound to do this bag for a grandmama, for a new baby, so I do it, and it takes me longer. It really does. It's amazing how your thought process can interfere with that. But yes, when Sally told me I could pick out anything,
Yeah.
I went right to the London Parks collection.
I'm wondering what we should show them first here.
You get to pick it.
Can't decide.
Yes, you can.
Well, this is hard to decide. I'm going to hide this other stuff.
Okay.
Okay, let's show this.
Okay,
because
guys.
This
My
is
pink and white bag, this is your London Parks version of it. I want you to notice, because I did sewing with some fabulous teachers here, when we did a half bodice lining, we didn't leave it raw, we didn't serge it. We normally put a little piece of edging on it. And this is actually some of my leftover edging from
I
doing that.
recognize it,
Okay,
yeah.
so here, can everyone see that pretty much?
We
I think we're
can.
good. I think we're
Yeah,
good.
okay,
But it's
alright.
just really nice. I put it here as an accent because I
That's
thought
a
it was
little
lovely.
Swiss embroidered edging.
It is. And I also used it on the side pockets. I don't know if you can see that, but it's here also. Had a lot of fun with this because this particular fabric here, yeah, I could just keep 10 or 15 yards of it in my closet to look at it. Great colors. Oh my gosh. Let me see if I can sneak this out. We also used the kind of dots and flowers.
Here, we can pull that piece out and show
We
it.
certainly can.
Yeah.
And this is what it looks like. So I kind of made a choice. Oh, I'm so glad Dr. Skinner cannot hear me speak. He may be rolling over in his grave with my horrible grammar. But I chose to kind of emphasize the lavender and purple here because I used the Wiltshire right next to it.
Jeanette says, "Oh, my colors."
Oh,
Yeah,
these are
these-
lovely. I can't
they're
say enough good
beautiful.
things about them. So that's for our strap and
Oh,
our
yeah,
side
yeah.
piece. Okay.
So this is interface too, right?
This is.
That feels like it's got Peltex in it.
Actually, no, that is
That's
two
a
layers of
911?
this folded down.
Oh, it is?
and stitched. Yes.
Oh, wow.
hmm
That's really heavy.
It is heavy, but
wow.
works out well.
Okay.
please remember my bag is probably at least 15 years old.
No.
Wow, they all look new.
What bag is 50?
The
Oh, that
pink
one. That
Not
one.
that-
Yeah,
this one's
yeah.
brand new. This is not
yeah,
15 years
yeah,
old.
Yeah.
And because I didn't have any monogram to use, look at this, guys. I did a quilt block. And this is a vintage quilt block. I don't remember the name of it. I should have looked it up. It is far from perfect, but it's finished. I didn't have the proper tool to make this piece. So if you look closely, and I don't recommend it, you will see that these are probably spaced further apart than this one down here. And it's all because I didn't have what I needed. Don't be looking at that. This one and this one. But I did take the time to fussy cut, or to cut the pattern that I wanted to show in the middle diamond, which has all my flowers going in one direction,
Right.
which worked out really well. And the Wiltshire with this, even though it's not part of this collection, the Wiltshire here is kind of their blender fabrics that they use a lot, and next to it is the Emily Bell. Can we see them
Let's see.
both? We'll put her up here too.
can,
That's
yeah.
good. We can put these three, this one here. This is also part of a blender collection, and if you're a fan of their Tana Lawn, you have seen this before,
That's
and you've
right.
likely seen this one. But they are just fabulous, good fabrics to use for anything. I recommend them. Of course I would.
Yeah.
All right, so
Well, I love how you did the strap out of this.
well, and I kind of, like I said, I made a
It's like-
choice.
uh-huh.
And not only that, look, I even paid attention to the fact that I kept my pattern running
I
here
see that.
and here. So that's a little bit of attention to detail that sometimes I do really well, sometimes
Actually,
I don't.
Well, you do. That's one of the things you do. She's a fussy cutter.
I do.
Yeah. You
I
do
even
that.
did children's clothes this way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can see the inside of the bag at all. Yes. This is Emily Bell. I think the color for this is mermaid, and I think it's spectacular. What you can't see is that my interior pocket is this absolutely fun fabric. So here's your interior lining, and this is what your pocket is. And I thought it was just great.
Oh, where'd you put the dogs? Are the dogs in
Dogs
here?
are
Or
on-
the dogs on? Oh, something else. Okay.
Uh-huh. So here we have the Multitasker bag by Kay Witt in London Parks colorway B. All right.
Love that.
Isn't that
Now
fun?
the pockets
Mhm.
they have interfacing.
They
in
have the
there, and
911
they're-
double F,
okay.
and they're segmented.
in their segment.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Trying to see if I put in. Yes, there is a pocket in here that is large enough for an iPhone, whatever
Right.
size you own. And they're pretty much cut into 3 different segments, different sizes, but they work out well. Okay,
And so you use a separating zipper.
I do. I use
on
a
the-
sport separating zipper. It's something that she does that I do not. I do not stitch these ends down because when I open my bag, I like for these to flop open.
Mhm.
If you stitch it,
Oh, it doesn't open
it
far
won't.
enough.
No, it won't open
Right,
at all.
Right.
She hand stitches this together
Oh, to the end down
to the end,
here.
and I don't do that
Mhm.
because I prefer for it to flop open so I can get more junk in it.
Yeah.
Just the way it is. I stuff mine full.
That's right.
So that's
I
the beauty of
love
the sport
that.
separating zipper. It works out beautifully. Okay.
This is cute with the green right here with the
Mhm.
mermaid color on top
Mhm.
of that. I love that. Every time I look, I see another detail.
They came out good.
Yeah,
like it.
That's neat.
We've
So
already gotten lots
here
of compliments on this.
We have a rectangular.
That's the rectangular ring. I think that's the 1.5 inches. You will see in the directions, if you ask for them, they cut their strap way too wide. And so what I've done is I've tailored it down to basically fit into the 1.5 inch ring. So that works out well.
Yeah, that's great.
Charlotte Durham says she loves the bag and how you put those beautiful colors together.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
me
I
too.
can't take credit for it because I think Liberty did all the hard work. All I had to do was come over here and say, oh, I think I like that and that.
But you picked them to go together
That's right.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
right.
because I have a hard time with that.
Oh, I love colors. I
Doing
love
different prints and
I go for the wild stuff. I have friends who do some really sophisticated and elegant things, and I'm always in awe of the fact that they can do that because that's just not my style. This is definitely my style. So, however, there's another company out there called Morris and Company, and for those of you who do know Liberty, there's the Strawberry Thief
Yes.
print. Well, Morris and Company does it in quilting cottons. And I'm thinking that they're like from the 1800s. That company originally started. And I'm going to do a quilt in some very muted colors. When when I do that, I will have Sally show that to y'all
Yeah.
because it's going to be just absolutely elegant. It's frightening to think I'd want to do that.
I love that print. I can't wait to see that.
I do too. I think Gail uses that.
A Strawberry Thief
Yeah,
all the time.
All the time.
All the time. I love Strawberry Thief.
When we talk about Gail, we're talking about Gail
Gail
Doan.
Doan.
And if you go to gaildoan.com, you can take the most amazing classes from her. We all highly recommend them. And then her notebooks. Man, have you
they're-
ever seen her notebooks?
They are so well written. I can't say
wow.
enough good things.
It's like the best instruction booklet you've ever received. And it's about 80 pages long. And you can, once you buy the class, you get that notebook and you can send it to the plotted pattern and they will print it in color for a very low price.
Oh, nice.
And then put it in a spiral bound and
Notebook?
yeah,
Very
it's
good.
a very, very good price. So that's Gail Doan and Doane.
Okay.
You gotta do it.
You do. I have some of her classes.
Yeah.
Plus getting to take them in person. Yep. Where I sat in the back of the class and
Yeah.
I was a bad
two
kitty.
questions.
Okay.
You may have already answered this. What's in the bottom of the bag to make it stand up?
This bag is made out of Peltex, which is like sewing cardboard. This is actually one piece on one side and one piece on the other, and there's a seam down the middle. And once I have this sewn together and I've turned the bag right side out, there's a secondary piece that I've put in here and fused it on.
Oh.
Some people will make a sleeve and they will buy the acrylic inserts, and you could do that, but I've never had an issue with this.
No,
That's
look
basically
at
2
that.
layers of um, 71F, Pelon 71F. It's called Peltex.
We probably need to reorder that.
Okay.
We used to carry that,
Mhm.
but we can get that again.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what stabilizer do you use for your strap?
That is the 911 double F. It's
It's a
It-
Pelon product.
It's a
too, and we
Pelon
have
product.
that.
It's the non-woven with
Mhm.
one-sided fusible. And the thing is, you basically have 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of it in this by the time you've made the strap.
4 layers of the fusible.
Mhm.
Now, why do you have 4?
You start out with 2 3-inch pieces. You have a 1/2 inch seam. You press that out. You bring your other 2 in to meet it. So that's 2 layers. Then you take those 2 and you fold them in
Oh,
together. So you end
wow.
up with 4.
Wow.
It's pretty stable.
Yeah, it's very stable. Yes.
And it's pliable enough that
Uh-huh.
it won't bother you. I've seen other people do this with thermolam or the fusible fleece to give it a little loft,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to cut it and center it, and I'm just simply too
Mhm.
lazy to do it.
Well, I don't know why you would do it because this is perfect. Now,
Right.
I don't know whether to show. I think should we do these next?
Let's do these
Okay.
next.
All right.
Okay, now when we were talking, we haven't got there yet. Oh, I'm ahead of myself.
Okay. Tell me what.
I'm looking for patterns. Oh, did
Oh.
you have those two? All right. So, in the spirit of making a bag, if I have leftover fabric scraps that are big enough, I make what I call a zippy strippy bag. And this is this bag right here. I have made, I don't know, hundreds of these now. And what I did was I used my leftover pieces and I did a little patchwork here. So, and I had some leftover Wiltshire that I used, and the interior is just a solid white with a little tab pull, a little tassel, little fake suede. This pattern, I have it, I do. Y'all, it's just really sad. This is the pattern by Atkinson's Designs. I also have notes scribbled all over it. I even have my own instructions for making an extra large bag.
What's the name of it?
It is the Zippy Strippy Bag by Atkinson Designs.
Hey, if you put that down right here,
Mhm.
facing us, we'll go to
Ah.
the overhead for a second, and you can get a close up. And let's see. If I do this,
Lovely. There we go.
it's gonna come real close.
It's pretty.
There you go.
There it is. I can't say enough good things about this. Probably everybody who knows me has received one of these from me.
So this,
And this is your bag.
there's the bag. Okay.
Makes up nicely. Yeah, I've got all kinds of little notes in this pattern. But I made one that was kind of extra large. It's a little floppy, but I can get a lot of stuff in it.
I love this.
It's a great bag.
Now, this seems like it would go together pretty quickly.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah.
If you do sew a bit, if you've done quilting, this is basically a flip and sew. You put one line on, or you put one strip on. This is normally just a strip, and then you put the other on top, right sides together. You make a 1/4 inch seam here. You flip it open. You press it. You put your third one on, and you do it again. So this is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strips that have been sewn, flip and sewn. So while it's not really quilted, if you look on the inside, are we still up?
No.
Oh, look at this. Woo. This is so much easier than doing Peltex.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
As you can see, you see the lines
Yes.
here? That's
Now
where it
I'm
was
gonna
flip
go
and
to the
sewn.
overhead so they
Okay.
can see.
You see your lines
Yeah.
here?
Mm-hmm.
That's where it's been flipped. It's been sewn and flipped. I have the order incorrect.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
totally held together.
Totally held together. I serged my seams. If you really wanted, you could bind them, but this pattern does not call for it. I have never done a binding on these, just not necessary.
Yeah, because it's not going to fray.
Mm-mm.
That's cute.
Okay. So while this pattern is not free, Atkinson, I'm not sure how much it costs now because this is ancient.
It's $10.
Is it? Okay. This next one is called the Nantucket bag. It is a free pattern from, do we have to do it this way?
We can do it. Yep.
Okay, if there's too much
All
glare,
right.
we can take it out.
We'll bring it down
Okay.
here.
This is the Nantucket Summer Mini Charm Bag. Here we go. With no glare on it. Made this a little better.
Yeah.
It's really cute. You can do it the way that I've done it, which is with 2 sets of patchwork. If you're really feeling creative, you have more time than you know what to do with, and you just like to sew little bitty pieces together. I don't know if you can see it on this side. Yes, okay. This is going to be doing 2 rows of patches, 3 rows of patches. Okay, and do it this way. Okay.
Mhm.
And this one is complete patchwork.
That's
Me
cute.
being a practical person, I think that's kind of a waste of time because we have this up here. I'm going to swap out to
Okay.
our little bag so you can see it.
Oh,
there we
that's
go.
Cute.
All right, so this is with the 2 rows. If you do the patchwork on the side, you're going to lose part of it here in this seam.
Right.
So, you know, I would do 2 patch, 3 patch. I wouldn't do the entire thing in patchwork. It's just not worth it for me. And I'm not lazy. I just like to spend my time doing other things. This bag is a nice and cute little box. Personally, I wish it were bigger, so I may experiment with this because this is the largest they have on this.
So people can go to Moda.
Moda.com.
Right? Moda.com.
Free patterns.
And get the Nantucket Mini Charm Bag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's free.
Yes.
I bet there are a lot of free patterns out there.
Almost any fabric company that does quilts will provide free quilt patterns. It's really a fabulous marketing idea because people need ideas. Not
Right.
everyone can say, oh, you know, I see this and I can see all the color. I can see the quilt blocks. That's just not true. That's a rare person who can walk in and do that. So to have these little freebies
That's right.
works like a charm.
This is really cute. You know, this makes me think of that little. We were talking earlier about back in the olden days, and our kids would make fun of the fanny pack, and now all of a sudden, guess what?
They're back.
They're back, but they're wearing it diagonally across their chest, and what are they calling it? Some kind of bag.
It's
But
interesting
anyway,
to see it.
Yeah, and even my granddaughter said, "Look!" I'm like, "Well, that's a fanny pack. You just don't have it on your fanny."
That's
you know?
right. They raised it up a little bit.
Yeah, that's
And it's
right.
almost a crossbody. They're taking it across your
and
body
so
to do it.
then they can put their phone in there, but I think they're cute, and
They
I
are.
think I'm actually kind of inspired to make one.
I think you should.
I know.
You should. Okay, guys. And in doing this, I have to tell you, if you're going to do zippers, especially on bags, I cannot recommend enough that you use,
Oh, here we
drum
go.
roll, please, any kind of glue you can find. I use Wash Away Wonder Tape. Bowen has a product. I use glue pins.
I'm gonna go
And
here.
I'm going
and
to tell
can
you something
see-
else that you can use that might scare you that I've seen on quilting websites. They use Elmer's glue.
I have actually heard people talking about
They
that.
use Elmer's glue to put their binding on the edge of the quilt. Once they get it on there, they hit it with iron. They hit it with
No
heat.
kidding.
Yes, they do.
So it's like liquid Elmer's glue.
It is. It's exactly what it is.
Well, it's going to be a whole lot cheaper.
It may be, but I'm still this Wonder Tape. I would buy stock in this company
Yeah.
because I buy it 6 rolls at a time and I go
Wow.
through it.
Mm-hmm.
I just love it.
Wow.
A lot of my garment teachers did not appreciate the fact that I so enjoyed using glue tape because it's kind of a cheater's way.
But I think
It's
what's
wonderful.
wrong with that?
Nothing. And these are washable.
Right.
I do know these are
Yeah.
washable.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sue says I use Elmer's glue, spool glue stick, and it washes out.
It does.
Right.
And so, you
I've
know,
done
they're the
that
little
too.
chubby,
Mm-hmm.
gosh, probably the size of my thumb. It
Mhm.
works beautifully.
Yeah.
And then Diane Bruton says messenger bag, question mark, and Denise said sling bag. Is it sling bag?
Oh, for the
crossbody?
the crossbody bag.
It may be.
And I know they use some of the same hardware, although I think they have like the adjustable strap kind of hardware.
Because if you're wearing it across your chest and you don't like it, you can actually drop it down to your waist,
Yeah.
tighten it up, and it can be in the front or the back.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a belly pack, a fanny pack, a chest pack.
Yeah.
We'll think up something
Yeah.
new.
Maybe it's called fanny pack. My daughter wanted one from Lululemon, and I was like,
Oh,
that is so
right,
funny. I
right.
can't believe fanny packs are back.
Yeah, me neither.
That's
And then I actually saw Catherine from Bringing Sewing Back, and you need to follow her on Instagram. She's so cute. And so she made one. She loves to repurpose things, and she found lavender
Pleather.
leather, a blouse with gigantic sleeves at a boutique for $10, marked down from $99. And so she's making the body of it into a tank top for herself, and the sleeves she was able to make.
Those
I think
fanny
those
packs,
little,
that little
they
cross.
call it a belt bag, Lululemon.
Oh, they call it a belt bag.
Maybe that's what she called it. Was a
Oh,
belt bag.
yeah.
It may have been.
But anyway, she gave a link to somebody that has a PDF pattern, and I can't remember the name, but anyway, it made me kind of want to do it, especially when Emma, my 14-and-a-half-year-old, came and said, "Look what I just got," and I'm like,
Fanny pack.
I could totally make that. I can make that. I know I can. And then when I saw these, it's like, all right, just put a couple of zippers in,
You're
and we
finished.
have 10 million zippers around here. So, but we have a beautiful project to show now using all of these.
Yes. Okay, guys.
So
This was hands down, as much as I enjoyed making the bags and the zippy bags and those kinds of things, I think this is by far and away the most beautiful thing that I did.
I love this. So here we go.
Let's see if I have it turned correctly. There we go. All right, Sally, help me out with this. And
All
I'll
right.
plop it up here. Okay,
We
guys,
do
this is a
to
quilt.
start with, and then we'll do this.
Okay. I don't know. Can you guys see a lot of this?
That's beautiful.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So there's the quilt, and I have to tell you that this is a free pattern. If you go on the Riley Blake website, because they are the distributors
Hang
for
on
the
this
London
so you
Parks.
can
Okay.
talk and show that. See if they can see.
So I'll put this here. Can y'all see this?
Can they see your face?
Parks.
What?
It's this particular pattern is Head Over Heels is the name of it, and on the bottom it says London Parks Liberty Fabrics. I made a couple of color substitutions. There were a couple of fabrics in here, the two florals, the pink and yellow, they did not have. So instead, we used the Wiltshire, which is the lavender. If I go better up here. The Wiltshire, which is the lavender, and the Emily Bell, which is the mermaid. Absolutely beautiful. I think that this was a different one, but I really love the kites, so I put
Right.
those in. The dogs, that's just way funny.
Yeah.
These are landmarks that you would see in London. They have the Eye, the Parliament, London Bridge, Tower, Big Ben. It's just fun, guys. I really enjoyed doing it. Even though it's circular here, they have a template for this. If you didn't want to do this, you could do something very similar to this, that half a block. You could put that up here if you were uncomfortable doing the circles, but there's a template that comes with it. Okay?
How difficult is that?
They probably call this a beginner. The only thing that would make me hesitate would be the circles. And that's just half a block. This is a rectangle here. And then next to it, let's go up here. This is the rectangle here, and this is the semicircle. And if you were uncomfortable doing this, you would simply do a half a block like that. And you could put that up there, and I'd probably put my points coming this way. Excuse me. I had a blast doing this. It was the first thing that I did.
I love this.
And everyone who's seen it, they love it.
The colors are great.
They are great. You just can't say enough good things about
So
this.
you did have to really watch the direction of your fabrics, right?
You
Of the
do.
print.
On this one, this is fussy cutting again. What I did was I had a 10.5-inch square, turned it like a diamond, and that's how I cut this fabric, and I did starch this because I knew I'm going to be sewing on
okay,
nothing but the bias.
bias.
This one was
Right.
just a square that you put on top of it. You sewed it on and you cut half of it off. So this one, not so much. The other piece that I had to pay attention to that I cut incorrectly the first time were the stripes. So I had to do that. The dogs, pretty easy. You just cut the 4 squares and you put them on as they need be, and so that you have them oriented properly. This one, not directional, not directional, not directional. For these corners that they did in this X, I would be neither here nor there on whether or not I did any fussy cutting on these.
Sue said, so you're a quilter now.
No, I am not a quilter. I'm a garment sewer. This is just me getting to sew fabric with some lucky
They love it.
recipients.
It says,
Yeah,
It's
beautiful.
gorgeous. It's absolutely
It's
beautiful. The actual quilting was performed by Sharon Tampling in Augusta, Georgia. She did this for me as a freebie.
I'm gonna go to the overhead so they
Okay,
can
so you can see
the,
this.
the back.
The back, I'm hoping you can see the
They might be
pattern a
able
little
to,
bit.
They might be able to.
It's hard.
You want me to? I can bring it down a little
All
bit
right,
more.
let's see if we can see it. This fabric is something I had in my stash. It's Kimberbell Tiny Dots. These are actually teal colored dots. I don't know if we can see it better on the front on the white. Can we see it here?
Maybe. Let's see.
Can we move
Bring
it around?
it-
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you guys see? I'm asking as if I'm in a classroom, by the way. Can you see some of the quilting that is performed here? They're more like feathers and swirls.
I love that.
Look, it's very nice for this quilt, I thought. Think clouds.
Yeah, it looks like
Mhm,
clouds.
very
It's
clouds,
really
'cause we're
pretty.
outside.
Yes.
But it's just really well done. Another friend of mine, Judy, was kind and she put the binding on for me. She hand stitched on the
Look at
back
this.
because I can assure you if it were me, I would have done it by machine. So that it's a beautiful project, guys.
That's beautiful. And a free pattern.
Correct. If you go to the Riley Blake website and you Google free patterns, you're going to see at least a dozen for the Liberty of London quilting cottons. They have them for London Parks. They have them for the new Christmas collections. I'm trying to think what all I saw. I bet.
Saturday in Paris I saw, which I don't know how many of those fabrics we still have, but we do have.
Oh,
some
they
of
did
those.
have some for the Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we should have put links to those when
Yes,
we get
I've
that
got a
fabric.
link to
Okay,
that.
good.
Okay.
Good.
But
Wow.
I just had a blast doing this. Again, where else besides children's garments do you get to use such a beautiful collection
Yeah,
of fabrics?
That's beautiful.
Just, it's just fun. Absolutely fun.
Oh my goodness, Cookie.
Yes.
You outdid yourself.
No, I just had a blast.
They're so darling. Let's show this dog fabric. I think it's so
Oh,
cute.
y'all, this is cute. Everybody loves the dogs. So, of course, we have a French poodle.
Open it up a little bit.
Pug, maybe? A Chihuahua looking thing. Kind of a,
Yeah.
I would say some kind of a greyhound looking pup. Just
Yeah,
fun
they're-
things,
they're
guys.
Cute.
Each colorway, this one kind of emphasized the blues. One was more of the yellow pink colorway, and the other one was more of an aqua turquoise.
Mm-hmm.
But I just so loved the dark blue that, yeah, I couldn't get
Yeah,
away from it. It's just such great contrast to everything.
And see, when we order these, we think of children's
Mhm.
clothing. And so I was thrilled when Cookie said,
Oh, I was so
I
excited to
know
see
the line I
these."
want to use for my bags. So that was fun. Because I wasn't sure really if we would have much of
Oh,
anything.
you always have everything I can use. I can go through the stacks and find all kinds of fabrics to
Good,
use. It's a
good,
given.
good,
It's a given. So,
Oh my goodness, Cookie! Thank you. We've actually gone a little.
oh, sorry,
long.
guys
No, that's
and
fine.
gals. Mm-mm.
I mean, they don't have to stay here and listen.
No,
to
no,
us.
that's true. But I do yammer a bit. Sorry,
No, I'm glad. I'm glad.
I'm a yammerer.
Me too.
But
Me too.
again, great fabric collection. I can't say enough nice things about it. Matter of fact, I'm going shopping shortly hereafter.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you have. She's already been pulling things
I
aside.
have them bad.
But you can draw for us today. We
Okay.
have. We're going to give away two $25 gift
Okay.
certificates today, and so actually, you can start putting it towards some of these fabrics.
Oh, yes, you
and
can.
build your own bags.
And you best do it before I get out there.
Yeah. The reason these aren't on her pile out there is because they're on her pile in here.
That's right. This is my pile, the cookie pile. Ooh, is this what I get to draw
Yeah,
from?
you get to draw
All
from
right.
here. So, you know what, Cookie, I'll ask you the question. The question that we ask, we like to ask a question each time, and I really enjoy the answers. And usually it comes from when I'm sewing. I'm thinking, I wonder what anybody else does on this. If you're sewing a button on by hand, how many times do you run that thread through in order to make it to feel like it's secure.
I'm an odd number kind of girl, so it's going to be 3 or 5,
Oh, that's interesting. And do you do it with a double thread?
of course.
Yeah.
Actually,
But
I'm
not
fibbing.
everybody does that.
I am fibbing. Learned this in a class here. Use embroidery floss, single strand.
Oh, a single strand of
Single
embroidery
strand.
floss?
Mhm. If I'm doing a single strand of embroidery, I'm probably doing it 5 times.
Well,
Cindy
that's
Foos.
interesting. That was Cindy Foos?
That was Cindy.
Interesting. Well, you can match anything you
You
want.
can. But if I'm
Wow.
using if I were using my quilting weight thread, things we didn't talk about, Aurifil thread, I cannot say enough great things about it. 50 weight, Sally carries it. Great stuff for quilting. It's very fine. I think it's only a 2-ply thread. It does not lend as much, and it presses out beautifully.
Interesting. We have it. We don't have as many colors in
No,
50
but
weight,
you don't need many colors.
but because we have more colors in 80 weight.
Yes.
Because we have all the DMC in 50 weight, I didn't order as much the Aurifil in.
I
50
liken the
weight.
Aurifil to the DMC 50 weight.
Oh,
It's
you
that
do?
fine. Yes,
Okay.
it is that
Yeah.
fine. But it's beautiful. You find that one neutral color. Few people quilt with white. Most people use what they call a quilter's gray in an Aurifil. I think it's called Dove. I think there's an off-white, a number 2000. I think you have that one. You can use that one. And there is another that's
We
kind
need
of
to
a
keep track of this.
light khaki that I use a lot. And I probably use that on this quilt, the light khaki color. And I
To
believe it's-
actually sew your pieces
just
together.
it's to do your piecing.
Yeah.
That's what this is called, I think, piecing. I call it blocking, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know very much. I know pointy stars. I don't know the name of the quilt block, but it's pointy stars in my book.
So, sometimes when I'm sewing a garment,
Mm-hmm.
I'll use a more neutral thread,
Sure,
and then it just blends right in.
that's exactly what I do.
And if people ask you to match their fabric, I think I'd probably do this neutral, but I'm afraid they might think I was nuts if I sent.
No, I
I
would
need-
use a neutral for most often, but if I'm sewing on an accent piece, rickrack, any of the fun frou-frou things I like
Right.
to use, then I would probably
Right,
match it.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
wouldn't be so obvious.
Right.
But other than that, I would use a neutral thread.
Well, people that really had some good training. There were 2 or 3 people that, and this came from a class of somebody that did couture sewing. They did not put a knot behind their, so you can ever see the knot back here. Maybe they did some waist stitches, or they put their knot underneath the button so you couldn't see it.
Exactly.
And some of them sewed with a single strand.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of times, if I actually take the time, you'll put a pin or a toothpick or something like that under the button,
So you have
and
to
so you make your own shank.
check. Mm-hmm.
And then when you come back through, you wrap that thread around and then knot it.
So for those of you who own a Bernita, there's a number 18 foot. It's called the button sew on foot. I highly recommend that for all children's clothes. Don't even bother. Just stick it on there and have at it.
Along
Yes.
with a glue stick.
Along with a
that
glue
button
stick.
in
That's exactly what it
place.
is. Glue stick. You slap that button on there. You press a button.
Yep.
You're out.
I do that too.
I do for for play clothes.
Yeah.
If it's heirloom, heck
And
no,
then
you're gonna do some
a lot of
hand
times
sewing.
with that,
Mhm.
I'll actually put a drop of fray check on that
Oh,
so
yes.
that tail doesn't come
Come all the way
yeah.
out. Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah.
So see, lots of different
we
things
can
you can do.
identify with
I
each
can.
other. All right, we're gonna draw 2 winners for a $25 gift certificate, and here we go.
What's it worth to somebody?
Yeah.
Here's the first one. I can't see.
Oh, so this is Ashley Berry Lambert, and she says, "Sewing buttons, I never count. I just do it." All right, Ashley Berry Lambert.
Okay, next one.
I mean, hopefully that was sometimes they tag somebody. Oh, I'm sitting here reading them. Isn't that terrible? I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, Vicky W. Richardson. What does she do? Oh, you
I
gotta
like
read
it.
that.
I just sew them on until I hear my grandmother whisper, "That's good enough."
I love that.
I do too. Those are spectacular.
All right. Well, thank you for responding. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, Cookie. And I hope you'll come back.
Of course I will.
Good.
Thank y'all
That'd
for
be
joining us
wonderful.
today. I had a blast.
I don't do anything.